Hello everyone. This is the first episode I'm recording after having had COVID. The two episodes that I aired last week were actually recorded before I got sick. Apparently, my wife and I both had the Omicron variant, which is one of the milder variants, so we're thankful for that. We didn't experience anything worse than normal cold and flu symptoms. We're feeling better now, but still we're both tired, and I've got this lingering cough, so I apologize for any coughing or weird sounds that I make today. But anyway, I want to try to wrap up this toy box this week, so today I'm going to cover the mission logic, and next time I'll cover the enemy generation. The mission logic is actually very simple. What you need is the collectible tracker, and an action enforcer, and the sound generator. And on the sound generator, we'll do the properties for this and turn off 3D sound at speaker or locator so we can hear that anywhere in the toy box. And on the collectible tracker, I'm going to be using the crystal shard collectible, so I could set that as my collectible type here. However, since it's the only collectible I'm using, I can leave that set to all. And we'll go ahead and show on the radar. So for the logic on this, it's very simple. We'll do a new logic connection. When the final collectible is collected and the player's gotten all 10 of the shards, then we'll come over to the action enforcer and have all the players celebrate. And also on the collectible tracker, a new logic connection when the final collectible is collected. Go to the sound generator, and under the musical category, I'll play my standard fanfare that I like to do for when a mission is complete. And that's really it for the mission logic. The only other thing that you have to worry about at this point is the collectibles themselves. And you could put them down directly by placing them in the different locations that I showed you in the playthrough episode back in episode 11. Again, you're going to place 10 of these total, and you're going to place these around the toy box. I don't even know where I am. Here we go. So you can place them in these little rooms. You can place them just about anywhere you want to place them. The other option, though, if you want to make it a little less predictable and a lot more interesting, you can use a randomizer and a series of replayers to put down several sets of collectibles and then randomly pick a set when the toy box loads. The collectibles will be in different locations each time you play that way. And I showed you how to do this in my Random Dungeons series, but I'll do that again here too. And so for that, again, we need the randomizer. I'm going to use 5 different replayers, so we'll have 5 different sets of collectibles. Each replayer will put down 10 collectibles. And then to kick it all off, I'm going to use this trigger area. I am not going to use a level starter, and I'll explain why shortly. But on the replayers, what you're going to want to do, if you want to do it this way, is to come over here and under the properties on each replayer, set the playback interval to 0. I've already done that on the other 4. And then for each replayer, we're going to step on the replayer to open the menu in the lower right. On my Wii U, I press B to start recording, and then I got to step off the replayer in order to get back into the editor. And then we'll go ahead and place 10 collectibles around the toy box. And for these, doesn't really matter the order in which you place them, but I'll place these where I placed them in my playthrough episode. Let's see, I think this one was over here. And also on this floor, I had placed one up here above this little catwalk. About like that. I had placed one over here. About like that. So that's 4. And one back over here in this little corner. That's 5. Number 6 was in this little side room. Number 7 was hiding back here behind this platform. Excuse me. Number 8 was above these crates. Number 9 was stashed behind these crates. And number 10 was right up here by this little room. And we'll go ahead and exit. And then we'll step on the replayer, press B again to stop recording, and A to clear. You can see they vanished all off of the radar there. So then you'll step on this replayer and do the same steps, but you'll place the 10 collectibles in different locations. And you're going to do the same thing for this one, and this one, and this one. And then to hook all of that up, the randomizer will invoke one of those. And let's actually go ahead and hook this up from the beginning. So you could use a level starter for this. I am not going to do that. And the reason is because when I save the toy box, all of these replayers need to be in the cleared state. So that when I load up the toy box and I trigger the randomizer, it will pick one of these and only play back one of these. If I save this and one of these is already played back, I'm already going to have collectibles in here. And that's what's going to happen next time I load the toy box. If I'm using a level starter, it's automatically going to play back one of these. And I'm not necessarily going to know which one. And so I would have to figure it out. The trouble is if you try to clear a replayer that hasn't been played back on, you can corrupt the replayer. And so I find it's best in this case to use a trigger area. And so on the trigger area, we're going to do a new logic connection when exited by player any. And you'll notice this trigger area is right over the start pad. So as soon as the player leaves that start pad, he's going to exit the trigger area, and that's going to kick this all off. But when they exit the trigger area, we'll come over to the randomizer and do an action. And the randomizer is going to pick one of these 10 replayers. So on the randomizer, a new logic connection on random trigger 1. We'll do a playback on this one. On the randomizer, new logic connection on random trigger 2. We'll play back this one. New logic connection, random trigger 3 will be this one. New logic connection, random trigger 4, and you get the idea. And I would recommend just doing 5 of these. You don't really need to go crazy and do all 10. You could if you wanted to, but again, remember there's limited memory for the replayers. So if I'm putting down 10 with each replayer, 5 replayers, that's 50 objects. So you're starting to get up there on the memory limit for the replayer. So that's about as far as you want to take that. And so what'll happen is when I load up the toy box, wait, one more thing we got to do here. So we only want to do this one time. So on the trigger area, new logic connection when exited by player any. Come over to our logic gate here that I put down earlier. We'll do an input. And then on the logic gate, a new logic connection on output. Turn around and disable the trigger area. That way that'll only happen once. And so now what you're going to do is, before you test any of this, you're going to save your toy box. And you'll want to make sure you do that. And then you can test it out, and as soon as you go into this trigger area and step out of it, it's going to kick off the randomizer and pick one of those replayers to put down that set of collectibles. Now, if you load up the toy box again later, you're going to appear on the start pad. And right now, when you first load up the toy box, there are no collectibles, as you can see, because we haven't we haven't exited the trigger area. But what you can do is while you're standing here on this start pad, open the editor, go into spark mode, and use the spark to put yourself outside of that trigger area. And in doing that, we have not invoked the exited logic on the trigger area. And so now we can run around in this toy box without having triggered any of these replayers. And what that means is I can continue now to make more edits or do whatever, and I can save the toy box, and I'm in a good shape. But again, if you exit that trigger area, which causes the randomizer to go off and pick one of these, it's probably best to not save the toy box and just exit it without saving and reload it so that it comes back in the state that it's in right now. And again, that's really important, because when you load up the toy box, you do not want any of those replayers to have been played back yet. But that's it for the mission logic. Next time, I'll cover the enemy generation, and then this toy box will be done. Until then, I want to thank you for watching and for your thoughts and prayers while I was sick. It's good to be back recording new episodes again. If you're building this toy box on your own system, I want to remind you that I've got logic diagrams on my blog to help you out, as usual. The link is in the video description, and you can click on my photo below to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done that. That's all for me today. Take care.